Sir, what are companies looking for in their employees today? What skills do they expect, both technical and soft skills?
Think first, skill set can always be improved, even if the skill set is not appropriate.
Many students have a doubt like how many lead code questions should they solve to get a job into the company they are applying for. Can you walk us through your problem solving process? How do you prioritize which issues to tackle first in the project? Welcome to the very first episode of Block Talks. I'm your host Shubham, the Vice Chairperson of Campus Blocks BVP, and I'm thrilled to have you all join us in this exciting journey into the world of technology. In this podcast, we'll explore the latest trends in innovation and the impact of technology on our lives and businesses. From artificial intelligence and cloud computing to emerging tech, and we'll dive deep into the matters that matters the most as a BTech students and also all the tech enthusiasts out there. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have an exciting episode lined up for you. Joining us is Abhishek, a visionary leader with extensive experience in technology and entrepreneurship. His diverse career has empowered Peer Buddy to reach thousands globally. He is currently is an software development engineer at Builder.ai. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much, Shubham. It's nice to have here. Yeah.
Yeah, so without any further delay, we'll be starting with our podcast. So our very first question, sir, how has been your journey? What college did you attend? How were you as a student? And what motivated you to join the tech industry and specifically Builder.ai? How is Builder.ai different from other tech company? And is your role more technical or managerial?
Okay. Okay. So, starting from very start, like after the completion of my 12th, I had two options. I can either go for BCA or I can go for like BTech. That has been the normal scenario, right? So basically, I wanted to join industry as soon as possible. From very initial, I had just one thought that I just want to start my career as soon as possible. This was like my first thought when I was in class 12th. So I decided to do BCA. Reason being, it is a 3 years program and the chances of getting placed is been comparatively higher. Reason being the crowd itself. In BTech, you get a better competition. In BCA, like the competition is not there. So these were initial thoughts. These were not 100% accurate, but as a student of class 12, this was my thought process. So I choose to do BCA from Tier 3 college Meerut itself. Meerut is basically my hometown. So I joined a Tier 3 college BCA, and like I was a decent student, I would say. In BC, in my BCAs, I got like always in top 5 students in BCA department. So things went well. We completed like 2 years into the college itself, and like likewise today when the competition is much higher. That was not the scenario in 2019 when I was sitting for my placements. So I got decent 8 9 offers after the completion of my like second year, and all these offers were like they were basically not a high paying packages, but at least I can get a start from there. So I just joined Paytm as a sales executive. This was my initial job. So I joined Paytm. I did like for some 3 months out there, and then I found that this is something that is not for me. I did a technical course, so I should move to technicals. Later, I got opportunity from another US based organization. The name is Guardian India Private Limited. That was a insurance company, but that is one of the like Fortune 500 company. So I joined that company after working for Paytm for 3 months. Basically, the roles were operation. Again, the same issue. I was thinking that I should go for technical roles because I did a technical course. So I left like around 6 months. After the completion of 6 months, I just left that organization and I joined MCA. The purpose of doing MCA is that after BC, I was not getting enough opportunity to basically sit for tech roles, and even my resume was getting difficult to shortlisted with just BCA degree. So I just joined MCA, and within the first year of my MCA, I got placed in a technical company named W3 Villa. It's in startup is in Noida itself. So started my career from there, to be precise, as a tech person, right? So worked for there like 2 years. 2 years is I spent in with W3 Villa, and those 2 years were fantastic. I got a lot of learning. I got like at root level, I understand how a system works, how an application is being built. So all the initial stuff is being done there. And once I completed 2 years, then I just started giving interviews to move to another company. Because my suggestion here to student is that don't try to change companies a lot in initial years. You should not basically be changing companies, because that way company would not trust you. Basically, if a good company is there, they would not trust if you are basically changing companies in 3 months, 6 months, or like so. So that was my thought process, and after the completion of 2 years, I just started giving interviews, got some decent 4 5 offers, and was able to crack builder.ai as well. Since this was a good startup, unicorn startup, I decided to move there. So this is how I landed to builder.ai.
So, sir, how is Builder.ai different from other tech companies?
So first of all, it has been working with the top tech stack, that is AI itself. So that is the major reason of joining this organization. Second, it's a unicorn. Thirdly, it has been the people who have been working here. I have like some of my alumni who are basically from my previous organizations, and they had given me very positive feedback to join Builder. So that's why I joined this organization. And besides this, there are plenty of benefits if you join Builder in future.
Right, sir. And is your role more as a technical or managerial?
So currently, I'm. It's more like a technical domain. I never want to leave the touch of technicality. Currently, I'm working as L2 in Builder. It is more like an executable role. I am mostly involved with coding and
Can
doing the
you
technical
explain
stuff.
us the L2, the term that you described just?
Yep, yep, yep. So basically, L1 is someone who joins as an engineer at entry level, and then we have L2 and then L3. Like this way, things go on. So I'm at L2 right now.
Right.
Yep.
So I would also like to ask for a brief overview of your specialization and work you do at Builder.ai.
Okay. So basically, initially I started as a full stack developer itself, a full stack web developer, I would say. Basically, that involves both front end as well as back end and a bit of DevOps. But DevOps is something that I do least. Most of the time, I'm involved with front end and back end initially in my initial years. But as time goes on and you reach at certain level, you need to be specific. You need to basically define yourself that this is your expertise. So basically, I define my expertise as a backend developer, and in builder.ai I'm working as in backend itself. So I make web application, and I'm doing the backend stuff of those applications. And talking about tech stack, exactly, it is a Ruby on Rails. Basically, the tech stack is Ruby on Rails. The tech stack has been least known in India, but it is one of the fantastic tech stack, I would say, built for developing the web application. It has been very efficient, very fast to develop, and very cost effective.
Right. So is it more popular outside India?
Yes, yes. Like in US and Europe regions, it has been more popular. That was my notice regarding this tech stack. But yeah, in India as well, there are multiple startup that has been working on this tech stack. The reason why Ruby on Rails has been popular is that because it's cost effective. That's why most of the startup opt this particular tech stack. You would be able to develop a very grand application within a very short period of time. And if you are doing something in very short period of time, that means you are basically cutting the cost, and you are basically developing application in short period of time.
So,
Yeah.
sir, I would also like to ask what was your first job in tech and what did you learn from it? So, how have your roles evolved over time? And if you are comfortable, can you share us a significant failure in your career and what did you learn from it? How have you pursued any certification or further education?
Right. So as I already mentioned, I initiated my career as a salesperson, right? And like doing some sales, I developed some of the core what I can say, the core skill set. What I got is basically the communications. Communication is something basically you need to have at top level. If you are a good communicator, you can always basically do much better than people with same skill set or even better skill set. So when you do sales, you need to communicate with a lot of people. And doing this stuff, I got my communications developed, and that was the first good thing I got to learn from that job. That job is not that well, because I have to go on fields and then basically promote the I would say devices and different stuff that is being sold by Paytm that time. So that the job was not that interesting, but I would say that there was a lot of learning in terms of communication, the interpersonal skills, the feeling of the skill set of getting people known and getting connected with them. All this skill set has been developed in my first job. And talking about failure itself, that job itself is also a failure for me. Reason being, I was doing a technical course, and still I was doing a sales job. So at the same time, it was a success because it has given me a lot of skill set. But again, I would say it's a failure as well, because I rushed towards jobs. As I already mentioned, even from class 12th, I had plans to join corporate as soon as possible. So yeah, that was a failure as well, that I joined as a salesperson.
So what did you learn from this failure?
Okay. So first thing is, never try to rush. Even today, I talk to a lot of students, and the first thing I listen from them is that, like, भैया I have like 3 months left, और 3 महीने में कुछ ऐसा बता दो कि जल्दी से जॉब लग जाए. So it is more like you are trying to rush, and
Right, sir.
you are not giving enough time to your skill set. Or skill set ko if you are not giving enough time in that scenario, basically there are chances कि you'll be taking wrong decisions. So try to give some more time, try to invest some more time, and then do something great. And that is what I did after learning from my failure. I just joined tech industry after doing MCA. I did proper break of like 1 year, and or I would say 1.5 years, and then I joined a right company, and this way my career grew.
So, sir, what are your thoughts on doing a master's in tech versus management after BTech? Is it worth it?
So basically, that first major thing that you should consider before opting for MCA or MBA is basically what type of skill set you have, what are your interests, like basically what do you enjoy more? Do you love coding? Do you love sitting in front of computers? Or do you more like interacting with people, talking to people? Are people understanding you? Are people following you? If you have those set of skill set, then move for MBA. In other scenario, if you are introvert, you don't like talking to people a lot. You like, what you like is basically sitting in front of laptop and coding for like 8 hours, and then developing some of the new applications, doing some these kind of stuff. So if you are more likely to do these stuff, then just move for MC. Otherwise, move for MBA, depending upon your skill set and interest. These are the two major things which can be considered.
So, it is about more of a management of man versus management of machine.
Yep. Right.
So, sir, what are companies looking for in their employees today? What skills do they expect, both technical and soft skills?
So even I am working on a startup, and I work with a great number of teams. So it's more like a managing a 20 plus people in my company itself, like in my startup itself. So what I try to find in people is the commitment. First thing first, skill set can always be improved, even if the skill set is not appropriate. What company try to find is basically that person is committed or not. Is he someone who will just left us when he'll be getting some extra pay, like for some lakhs or some thousand, he'll be just leaving us? Is this person is of that kind? So that is a negative scenario. You just need to be committed. That is the first pointer. Second, you should be a good communicator. Reason being, when you work in an organization, you need to communicate with a lot of people. You need to communicate with your team, with the leadership team, with the customers. Maybe if you are working in a service based company, most likely you'll be working with a client. So all the scenario needs to be handled with one skill set, that is being communication. So you need to be a great communicator. That is the another thing. And then third thing is confidence. Basically, when you're working in an organization, you will be getting challenges every day, new challenge every day. So if you are not confident that you can, yes, you can do this, you can do some research and you can do this, then you are not going to be a right employee for a company. A new challenge needs someone who has enough confidence to solve a problem.
If
Okay.
I
So
talk about Builder.ai, for example, a student who has to take an employment in Builder.ai, so what technical skills do I need to acquire before joining it?
got it. Got it. So, as I already mentioned, these are the three, I would say, interpersonal skills. I call it generally 3C, that is commitment, communication, and confidence. This is the
Right.
3C, right? These are the three things which has been needed. Besides this, what has been important to join, if you want to join Builder AI is more specific with the skill set, with I would say the tech stack. We mainly work on Ruby on Rails, React, Angular, Python. So, these are the core skill set. Or we also have like the data analyst team, data science team. So these are the major skill set in which builder AI is been working on. So if you are one of them who has these skill set, you can just try to find the relevant job opening for you. And besides this, there's basic DSA that is being needed for all the product based companies as usual. So basic DSA plus a specific skill set, either React or Angular or Ruby on Rails or Python or like DA if you are a DA, if you are a data scientist. For all these job roles, we are hiring, I think.
That as part of the basic DSA is concerned, many students have a doubt like how many lead code questions should they solve to get a job into the company they are applying for. So, what is the parameter? Do you think that doing so many questions or doing certain amount of question would help them, or what should be their approach?
DSA is something that is, I would compare it with a sea. I would compare it with a sea, or I would compare it with a pond that has a lot of water, right? And based on like, it is more like there's no limit of doing DSA. There's not a specific set of questions. There are not a limit of questions that you need to do before going into a company or before applying for a company. It is more like how much you are clear with the concepts, how much do you understand data structures, and would you be able to solve spontaneous question that has been coming to you in interviews. So there's not a number which I can tell you, but it's more like you need to know all the concepts. Like, if you, that depends, again, that depends in which company you are trying to apply. If you want to apply for tier 1 companies, then you have to do all the topics that has been there, trees, graph, linked list, hashing, all the things, all these I would say advanced stuff needs to be done. But if you are trying to do a tier 2 company, then comparatively less topics needs to be required. And at initial level, like if you are just applying for normal startups, then in that scenario, very basic like array string, and at last you can just go up to stack queues. These are enough to crack uh, basically basic startups, the initial startups. And I was never a DSA lover. I just always try to be more into development and doing the basic DSA along with that. So my problem solving skills is also good. At the same time, my development is something you are going to work on, right? So I mainly focus on that part.
So, we first need to decide our target. Then, according to target, we have to mold our DSA solving topics, right, sir?
So basically, you need to initially define your target company level, tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, and based on that you need to define कि भाई कितने topics करने हैं, which topics needs to be done exactly. And then based on that,
Right, sir.
those number of topics, you need to define level as well: easy questions, medium questions, or hard questions, depending upon the tier, which tier companies you are basically want to go. Tier 1 companies always go for medium to hard level. If you want to target just the medium level, that is tier 2, then just medium questions are enough. And in other scenario, the basic easy questions and up to medium questions are enough. And still, if I want to give some numbers, I would say ki at least do 150 to 200 questions before going interviews. This is a random number. कि इतना तो भाई, this is something that is being needed in interviews. Yeah.
So the DSA has also been solved. Now we are seeing, according to the current scenario, even the students from IITs and NITs are struggling to find good jobs, and with many being placed at a very low pay scale. So,
Mhm.
what this condition is having with the students, sir? What are your opinions on this?
Right. So I would not say IITians are not getting job. It is more like the negative things are more embraced than the positive things. It's a human psychology that they always attracted to negative things, negative news, rather than positive side. So whenever a negative news come in, that has been highlighted in such a way that the whole scenario looks like a negative only. But that's not a case. It's more like it's again a combination of positive plus negative, but we are picking negative a lot these time. So the jobs are still there. It's more like the competition is been there, the right people are there, the number of people has been increased. Then in comparison to the number of people who are being applying, the amount of jobs are less at this point of time. But that never confirms that you are not able to crack a job, or if you are not able to get a job. What you need to do is basically you just need to prioritize things out, you just need to plan things out. And if you are able to plan things out, you are able to prioritize your studies, you're able to prioritize your plan, then you should be able to crack a good job as well. And if I talk about the IITians, even tier 3 colleges are getting good packages. I have many mentees who has
Right,
been
sir.
from tier 3 only, and still they are able to secure a good package of like 5 to 10 LPA, like 7, 8, 6. There are multiple people who have able to do this. What they have, the 3C part: communication, commitment, and confidence. And besides this, they have a proper planning. So based on that, they are able to crack right positions. So we don't need to fear about these things. What we need to do is to better plan, we need to better prioritize. If we are able to do these pointers, we should be able to crack. There are many openings that has been still there, and that will remain as well. There may be possibility the tech stack may change a little, but jobs will always be there, at least in IT department.
Right. Sir, as you mentioned that the number of jobs are decreasing, but the people applying for it, they have increased considerably. So, what do you think are the biggest challenges for facing the tech industry today? And will AI replace the jobs of programmers and coders, as it is also builder.ai?
So basically, what we need to understand is that it's not like the number of job openings are decreasing. It was more like the people who look at IIT, basically IT department, IT industry, they were very much fascinated with that in the industry. They saw that the packages are high, the amount which they are getting from very initials has been quite high. This has been an interesting job opportunity. So many people shifted their interest from other domains to IT domains. That's the reason the number of students who have been passing in IT industry itself, even if you notice, we never had these type of things like aids, like uh, artificial intelligence and data science in BTech. Like even in BTech we have specializations defined now. BTech in DS data science, BTech in artificial intelligence, BTech in full stack. Like this way, many colleges are been promoting their courses into specialization. So the number of people who are basically doing the IT stuff, doing the tech stuff has been increased. So that's why the other side, the number of job opening looks less, but the job openings are almost the similar number, but it's more like the people who want to get into this job role has been increased drastically. That's the reason why we saw this difference. And the other question was, how does AI will look basically take our jobs or not? So again, AI is just a tool. What we need to understand is that AI is just a tool. Someone has written AI itself, and the person who has written AI itself needs to manage that as well. It's not something that will never need management. Even it's more like the intern level jobs, like writing the basic HTML boilerplate codes, the basic stuff, the basic very basic coding that has been replaced with AI. People do now, instead of doing the repetitive work, they are just considering doing it using AI itself. But what AI can't do is basically, when we look around a whole application, a whole bunch of application that has like n number of modules, that has like thousands of modules. AI cannot understand this much logic. AI cannot understand business logic. AI cannot understand the feeling of business. All these stuff has been never with AI. This can only be possible with human touch. So the basic jobs which are done by interns initially, the very basic job is definitely will be replaced by AI, but there are definitely more number of jobs that will be created by AI.
It is just like a scenario, correct me if I'm wrong, like a manufacturing setup in which the laborers used to combine the car's equipment, but now it is being done by robots. So
Right.
similarly, repetitive kind of task is being performed by AI, but not the
Definitely.
specialized one task that is being
Yes,
performed by
yes.
human. Right.
Yes. And those machines which are been doing this manufacturing work will be managed by people. Not that repetitive work will be done by people. So the job is being transferred to more skilled people rather than doing that labor job that was a less skilled job. So the job openings will remain same, even that can be more than what has been the current scenario. But it's more like the more skilled people are required now. It's not that people who are doing just the repetitive work, the basic work, those people are not required or will not be required after like 3 years, 5 years, 7 years down the line.
And sir, how do you anticipate your area of expertise will evolve with AI?
Right. So like in tech stack, what happens is basically every day you need to learn new things. You need to advance your skill set with something that has been coming on. The new things which has been coming on is definitely more beneficial than what has been already there, because that's the most updated one, and that has taken the current scenario in consideration. So what I would say is basically a web application used to build on and written by completely a coder. But what happens now is basically, we involve a lot of AI in our coding journey. We do a lot of repetitive work using AI, and and yeah, all this stuff has been taken care by AI. So I have to ultimately learn AI, how we are doing this, how what things it has been considering, and ultimately I'll be an AI plus backend developer. Right? This is my next plans are, because everything is going to depend on AI, and once everything is going to depend on something, you need to learn that skill. Then only you'll be relevant in the industry.
So, with managing of AI that needs to be learned for
Mhm.
the students that is applying for the jobs in these technical sectors, right, sir? So, how
Right.
is Builder.ai different from mass recruiters like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, or Cognizant?
Right. So if I talk about the engineering team of Builder AI, it is like 400 people or 500 people in total. So the team is very small. We have the very skilled guys with us who are basically in their domain, like with 10 years of experience, 15 years of experience, and 20 years of experience, who are basically acing their industry. So what Builder, this is my thought process. I haven't talked to leadership like what is their point of consideration while selecting guys, selecting people, selecting employees. But my point of consideration is that Builder more looks towards an skillful guy, a person with a lot of skill, rather than hiring multiple people with like no or less skill set.
Right.
So they are more specific towards finding someone who has the skill set, the right skill set which is being needed, and the right approach
Like you
as well.
mentioned previously.
Right. Yes, I
Yes.
mentioned already that even the industry ultimately demands people with right skill set, and yeah, they don't want people who will do repetitive work in industry.
Yeah. Sir, one more thing
This is
that has been, yes, sir.
this is not just the case with Builder AI. Any startup, any good company always targets to hire someone with excellent skill set, rather than finding multiple people which don't have any skill set or which have very less skills.
Basically, the stress that has been laid upon problem solving abilities, like doing the whole motive around solving the lead code question is to develop a problem solving mentality. So can you walk us through your problem solving process? How do you prioritize which issues to tackle first in a project?
So the whole point is this only. People started using DSA to crack interviews. They want to DSA to crack interviews, but they lost the real reason of doing DSA. The real reason of doing DSA is to develop the problem solving skill. That was the major reason, and that's how even companies are following each other. Companies are basically just running in this rat race where they just want DSA as a skill set in a person, but they don't understand why we want DSA in a person. We want to check the logical skill set of a person. That is the core reason we are asking DSA. Even many companies are there who don't have any clue why they are basically asking DSA questions, but rather they just ask DSA because many good companies are asking DSA. So my approach was, there are two ways of getting uh, this skill set of problem solving. First is experience. This, at least this is my consideration. First is experience. The second one is doing logical questions. Logical questions can be DSA as well. It can be direct logical questions. It can be DSA because DSA is again all logical, right? So these are the two ways. Since I already mentioned, I am not a great lover of doing DSA. So what I did is basically I was doing random stuffs. I was just trying to develop as many applications I can. By this time, like I have worked with more than like 10 to 15 applications. With experience, you see what problems we are facing. What are the at what at what point we can be stuck. At what point we can get problems, right? So with this experience, you get to know, yes, this is something which has been a problem. This is something you are going to get when you will develop your next application. So with that experience, you get your logical thinking developed. Yes, if I'll do this, I'll get this problem. If I'll do this, I'll not get probably any problem. So that way, experience is one thing through which I developed my problem solving skills. And the second approach was to doing DSA questions, of course, and doing some logical questions as well. So even if I am not a great lover of doing DSA, but still I solved at least like 150 to 200 questions by this point of time. So I just, whenever I get time, I just try to solve one or two problems. Like in 1 month, I just try to solve at least 20 to 30 questions. So I get that touch of that DSA. Another reason of doing DSA for myself is that I have to guide a lot of mentees, since I take paid sessions on mentorship with people, with students, obviously. So basically I need to guide them as well, what has been currently trending, what needs to be done, how much DSA has been enough, all these stuff. So I have to myself keep in touch with these topics, then only I should be able to guide students.
So basically, two approaches. One is experience, and second is by solving problem-related questions.
Yes, it's logical questions mainly. And logical question again, DSA is not a different category. DSA is again a logical category. You can put DSA in logical category. It's on you how you want to develop your logical abilities. If you want to do the questions like which has been scenario based, you can just do that. If you want to do DSA, you can do DSA. Anyway, you can just develop your logics that way.
Right. And sir,
Yep.
something apart from fantasizing about technology,
Mhm.
a BTech student or a BCA student also fantasizes about the work culture and environment of the corporate world. So,
Mhm.
what aspects of a company culture do you value the most? And how do you approach personal development and skill growth alongside your job? Like, do you get the time for that and how you manage this?
Right, right. So work culture is been cannot be defined like this is the best work culture, because
Yes.
different people can have different mindset and they may need different thing. For some people, the monetary benefits, the monetary gifts, vouchers, these are something that has been a driving force
Right.
for him. For the other person, the parties, the if our company has been doing frequent parties, that thing can be fascinating for that
Right.
particular person. The other person can have something else to add on. But for me, what right work culture has been that you get enough time to spend time with your family, you get enough time to do your stuff. You are not being questioned when you are taking leaves or when you are taking offs. You just need to give the right reasons and you should be able to get your work, you should be able to get your leaves approved. And you don't need to work like 12 hours, 13 hours every day. There can be a scenario, there can be once a blue moon, but it's more like you don't need to work for 10 to 12 hours every day at least. So these are the major factors. If you are doing like 8 to 10 hours of job, 8 hours or 9 hours of job every day, you are getting enough time for your family, you are getting enough time for yourself. And at the same time you are getting all the benefits, the basic benefits which you get, the health insurance, the the food, all these stuff you are getting, you are in a good culture company. At the end, I would
Yes.
say everything depends on your manager itself. Even if the company is not good and your manager is being good, you will probably be living a great life. And even in right companies, the companies with
Right.
great work culture, if your manager is not that good with you, you're not going to live happily.
Good people creates good environment.
Yes, right. People do create environment, not building,
Yes.
not company, not policies. It's people who create environment.
Right. So, sir, uh, uh, do you believe that workplace atmosphere can be challenging or stressful at some times? And what contributes to that environment?
Right. So basically, when you work in an organization, as I already mentioned, there are multiple challenges you do face. Every day is a new challenge. There are possibilities you are getting to develop a feature which you have never worked on. You don't have any clue how this is going to be implemented, but that needs to be implemented very fast. You are getting like tight deadlines that this needs to be delivered. In that scenarios, most of the time what happened that you are going to spend like 13 hours, 14 hours, 15 hours. This is not always a scenario, this is just like once a blue moon. It's like in 1 month you'll be doing this for like 3 days, 2 days, like so. So in those scenario, I would say even a good company do have a pressure version of that company. Everyone is being aligned with their work and they are doing their work for like longer durations. So those scenarios are there where you'll be feeling that you are having work pressure, and the way to handle this is to take this as in a positive manner. You need to learn how you are going to handle the situations, how you are going to take these features up, how you are going to take go on a leadership role. So what I would say is that when you work at a junior level, you don't care about anything. You only care about that this is my work, I need to finish this. But once you are at a mature level, you get some designations, you get move ahead in your career ladder. You start thinking big. You take a bigger picture. I'll do this thing, then once I'll do this thing, the impact of this thing is going to be that, and that way I'm going to help in business. So you are taking complete perspective. So in that scenario, once you get these type of burdens, these type of I would say instant features that needs to be released in tech domain only I'm talking about, You think a bigger picture. Yes, this can benefit business. This is the whole process. This is how I'm going to handle this thing. So yeah, taking that thing in a positive manner. Also, you are not getting these stuff to do like for the whole month. It is just like twice or thrice a month, as I already mentioned. So you just need to take that as in positive manner and learn from that thing. Learn to handle pressure, learn to handle that situations. Right. So basically there are clients. There are multiple times when you work with application that has been quite big. There are the number of users who are basically aligned with an complete with an application. Okay. Let's resolve this question with another approach. Try to think that you book an application. You are a user of a particular application. Let's say Ola. You want to book a Ola bike, and for some reason when you are clicking on book now button, you have been redirected to back page. Instead of taking you to the payments page, it is taking to previous page. Suppose like in Ola itself, the number of people who are using that particular application is in millions, right? There are at least 50 million or 100 million of people who are trying to use this application. So if you just try to calculate the amount of cost that they will lost in one single minute, will always be in millions. Matlab, they will get lost millions of dollar if that particular bug remains on production for few hours. And think about millions of dollar is how great amount. So when these type of situations do occur, the tech teams needs to be stand on their toes and have to resolve these situation as soon as possible, because company is been basically draining their millions of dollar every minute, every second. And you are taking time, and that time is being directly impacting the revenue source of company itself. So in that scenario, no one thinks about work life balance, no one think about the time. You just need to stand on your toes. You just need to fix that feature as soon as possible and then ship that up. So these are just this is just an one example why this happens in tech world.
And sir, how do you cope up with the stress and manage work-life balance?
So I would say Builder has a good culture. First of all, everything has been pretty sorted here. Uh, Secondly, the way you manage these things has been defining the priority. You need to define that yes, I need to sit on my workbench by 10 o'clock, and you need to finish all that up by 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whatever you do define, and you'll take some frequent breaks in between. So that way you define that this is my work. After this particular time, I'm going to spend some time for myself, and then I'm going to spend my some time with my family. That way you define your boundaries, that these are the time which I'm going to adhere, and you need to stick on those boundaries, because you're never going to be free in your mind. You're always going to stuck. If you are doing something and that thing has been not resolved, your mind will always tell you just do that part, just do that part. But what you need to understand is that work is something that is a never ending thing. You don't even if you will work for like 15 hours a day, you'll again have requirements of next 2 hours with you. So the right way is to define boundaries, define, prioritize, and based on that, just stick to that thing. So this is my general thing. I just sit on my desk by 10 o'clock. I just work until 7. And yeah, I then just wrap up my work. I do some sort of walking. I spend some time with myself, then I spend some time with my family, then I do some personal work, some personal development things, and then I just sleep. So I just stick with this schedule. And sometimes it happens that the company requires me, company do want me to work for some extra hours, and that has never been a problem for me, because that's again happens once or twice a month. So that is never an issue for me.
Because that what is being portrayed over outside is that company is the main controller and it controls all the employees. But what your response has been coming out that the
Mhm.
control of your life is in your hands and you can
Yes.
control and balance your work as well as personal
Right.
lives. Yeah.
Company is just the other side. Like you two guys are sitting on a table. One is employer, one is the employee, and you both are basically combinedly running a pedal of a particular ship. So even if a single person will stop, the other person will not able to survive the ship. So it's more like it happens, they do understand us as well, we do understand them as well. We'll be working extra hours when they need us. They'll be giving us leaves offs when we need that. So it's a mutual contract.
I will also lay stress upon the coding journey. Like, how did you start your coding journey? In which year of college did you start? And how was it?
So as soon as I landed to BCA, I just started with basic C, and I spent some time with doing basic C for like 3 to 4 months, and then I got a basic understanding that this is how the programming language do work. I did started doing the essay questions, like did some 50 questions or 70 questions. I get all the basic touch. Yes, this is something problem do solve, and this is a programming language, how this happens. So all the basic things were clear to me by that time. Then it's been going normal. I was not much emphasizing on that, since it's a tier 3 college, and tier 3 college don't have that environment. Basically, they don't emphasize much on learning new stuff, learning something that has been not done casually. It's more like, nowadays if you are learning in a good college, you'll see that people are doing AI, people are developing LLM models, people are basically working on recommendation models, all these stuff which has been fancy. People do always research on that part. But what happens in tier 3 college, there's no culture of that. People are not that ambitious. It's my personal observation. It's been hardly happened that people from tier 3 college has been ambitious enough. So what you need to do is basically you need to do your stuff by yourself. But I was not that guy in my BCA. So I was just doing normal things. The BCA went like okayish. It's not that great. I was a normal guy, but still I was able to secure like 8 9 jobs at that time, because the competition was not that tough 5 years back. Right now, we have comparatively a higher competition. In my MCA, exactly when I came to in my MCA, then I started back. I started doing DSA seriously. I started doing some more programming language. I just jumped back to CSS. I learned about OOPS concept. I learned about modern programming. I started developing multiple applications. I worked with different internship companies as well. So doing all these stuff, I got a decent understanding of how applications are being built on. Rest of the thing happened with my experience only. I just joined in the first year of my MCA, and it's been like more than 3.5 years been doing developing applications. It's almost 4 years. So like when you spend this much of time, you just sharp yourself every day.
You mentioned about three C's in the soft skills.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we are working in a team and many a times conflict do arise. So, what are your strategies to curb or avoid those conflicts and resolve them?
Right. So if the been conflict has been there with someone who is been the same hierarchy as you, try to solve that with the help of your manager. Managers are generally more experienced, like they do have experience of 15 years or 20 years. They do understand these situations well, and they can definitely better guide you. Also, if you are, there are possibility you are wrong and the other person is the right one. So in that scenario also, there is a third person perspective, the manager's perspective. Basically, he can suggest you that yes, he's been saying right, you are not that right. So you should understand what his point is. So you'll get a satisfaction that yes, my manager has been saying something to me, that means this has been the right. So this can be a first approach. The second approach is more like, when you have conflict with someone who's been at higher designation, suppose your managers and people on top of that. So in that scenario, what you can do is basically try to understand their point, what they are saying, why they are saying. In 99% of the scenario, if manager has been saying something, they are right. But we as a fresher, we when we move freshly to a company, we don't have that much of knowledge, we don't have that much of understanding. So we take it in a wrong manner, we take it on our ego. People who are been your manager has been there since like last 15 years or 20 years. You need to understand their point. You need to understand what they are basically saying. And once you'll start understanding their point as well, they will start feeling that yes, this person is listening to me, this person is also understanding my point. So they will also react in same manner only. So that is the first approach. You'll just try to understand your manager. In other scenario, when your manager is just like a, he's been not listening to anything, he's been wrongly taking you up. So in that scenario, the best way is to talk to the manager of that person as well, the next hierarchy. So that may get, that way you can also get resolve these things out. You have to take some bold decisions in corporate as well. It's not like you cannot always be a dumb guy who's been listening everything, who's been taking everything up on himself. So in that scenario, you can just take some bold step. You can just try to contact your leadership team, or someone who can basically take this problem up and resolve this out.
Right, sir. And sir, I would take like, what is your larger goal in life? What legacy do you hope to leave in your professional life, and that motivated you eventually to join the industrial sector? And how do you evaluate whether you are on track to meet your career goals?
Right. So the bigger picture is that I want to move into leadership roles. I don't want to lose my tech touch, but at the same time, I want to be in leadership roles where I get the opportunity to work with multiple people at the same time, guide them, understand their point of view, share my experience and my journey with those guys, so they can also basically do better in their career. So that is my main motive, and that's why basically I started doing mentorship as well. Like 2 years, 2 months back, I just started doing this mentorship program. Things are going fantastic with that part. I'm able to help at least 100 plus people within just last 2 months, the at least 100 plus students. So I would say that yes, I am on track. I'm doing this mentorship. I'm running Instagram page as well, where I have more than 40,000 followers. So I'm also guiding people through videos, through reels as well. And at the same time, I am also working on my startup. So all these stuff all together, I would say that yes, I am on track. And the bigger picture is to just be a leader who can basically help people who don't have the right guidance with them. And even my startup is also on this same thing only, that guiding students and people with right information
Right. And what qualities do you think that make a great leader in tech?
in tech.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, first of all, don't try to be a direct leader. Don't think that you will just get a direct leadership
Right.
position. You need to be in that shoes before basically taking that role. So just start from basics, starting from initial roles. Just try to do that stuff first yourself. Don't just try like there are people who just come to a tech role and they just think that I just want to be a director of engineering. I just want to be this, and they just start thinking that way only. But I would suggest better if you could just increase your technical skills and then move ahead in a ladder, like one by one. Be a junior engineer, then move to other ladder, that is software developer, then move to other ladder that has been senior software, then ATL, then TL, and this way. So you'll get essence of each of the level, like what exactly that person do feel, how that person is been solving a problem, what do you feel when you get something from your leaders. So you'll just understand each and every scenario. And at the same time, since you are been working with industry for a long time, you will have a plenty of technical skills. And yes, these two things are enough to be a leader. And yes, one extra thing is like these are about technical skills, but besides technical skills, these three are the major thing if you want to be a uh, leader: the commitment, confidence, and communication. Because you need to tell everything to your subordinates, the employees who are basically working in your team. So you need to be a great communicator. You need to be a committed guy. If your employees, if your teammates are working for like 6 hours a day, you need to work like 10 hours a day. You need to set an example for those people, right? So commitment, communication, and confidence. You should be confident. Yes, my team can do this stuff. So this has been the super crucial for a leader.
Confidence in yourself as well as in team.
So I would say that confidence in yourself is the first thing first. That yes, even if my team is not able to handle that, I should be the someone who should take this responsibility at the first place and help them to do the stuff. So if you are technical guy, if you are engineering guy, so you'll be having comparatively much experience comparison to your team, right? That's why you are sitting at manager's position. So if something has been there which has been not able to resolve by your team, you should be the first person who should take that problem up and resolve that. And that way you can basically be confident on yourself, and then definitely you should be confident on your team as well, because that's your team. Even if you have a problem in your team, you need not to disclose that to other outside world. You should be very
Right.
confident.
And sir, what is the one piece of advice you want to give to first or second year college student who aspire to join tech companies like you?
Okay. So for first year students, I always say don't rush. At least enjoy your first year of college completely.
Right.
Don't rush to jobs. You the college life which you are getting is something you are getting for the very first time, and you are not probably people who don't
Right.
do masters, and 90% people don't do masters. So probably if you are not going to do masters, you will never going to get this opportunity back. So if you are in a 4 year program BTech, you should spend first year completely on yourself, like enjoying the college life, doing random stuff, doing parties, spending time with your friends, like this way. Spend most of your time, like waste most of your time, I would say, in first year. Besides that, just pick a single language and just go through that particular language. Suppose if you pick even C++, for the whole year you can just keep doing C++, complete year. And with the completion of that year, you'll be there with sufficient knowledge of a particular language. And once you are done with the sufficient knowledge of a particular language, next year you can just simply start doing DSA. In second year, if you start doing DSA for the 6 month, if you consistently do DSA, you should be able to crack any good company. Like 6 months is enough if you are consistently working for like 3 to 4 hours, 4 hours a day on DSA itself. And then you can just start contributing to open source. You can just start developing some of the applications. You can start understanding some of the great code base, like code base
Right.
which has a lot of code. Those type of code base you can try understanding that, try resolving some of the real world problems, try deploying some of the applications on live, and give the access to some of the random users so they can utilize your application and tell you what the problem is. So basically, don't think of doing coding, try to think of solving a problem which people do face. So if you are able
Real
to
world
solve,
problem, right, sir?
yes, yes, you are able to solve the real world problem in combination of your tech skills, then then you are on the right path for sure. And at the end of second year, you'll be having plenty of things with you. You are done with a particular language, you are done with DSA, you are done with contributing to open source, you are done with developing some of the applications, and from third years you can just start applying for internships.
So with this, we have come to the conclusion of our episode. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your journey and insight with us. And it's been
Yeah.
pleasure having you on Block Talks. So to our listener, stay tuned for more such episodes as we continue to explore the world of technology and innovation. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and stay curious. Thank you all.